What up, motherfuckers? Man, I'm back. I know it's been a while since I did one of these. Y'all been begging. Y'all gonna get what y'all asked for. So today we got another album review for y'all. We gonna talk about a band that I originally never liked. Like, you ever hear a band or a song or something and it just doesn't work out for you for the first time around, the second time around, the third time around. You just can't get into it. And then they finally do it. They release something that's greater than life itself. And then you like, okay, now I can finally get into this shit. Well, this is basically how I feel about this band now. So today's album review is Fleshgod Apocalypse, Veleno. Ha ha ha. So this is a band that I've never talked about before, and like I just said, reasons why is because I really had no interest in this band at first, but now I do. So here we go, still unopened. Yes, I've listened to this album already, but I gotta buy a hard copy because I'm a diehard fan here. So sorry about the flash here. You already know. Y'all know how it is. Y'all used to it by now, so whatever. Anyways, Fleshgod Apocalypse is an Italian symphonic death metal band formed in 2007 from Italy. Currently, their lineup is Francesco Poli, lead vocals, Paulo Rossi, bass and clean vocals, Fabio Balaletti, lead guitar and backing vocals, and Eugene Raya Ben whatever is drums. Look, I don't want to even try to pronounce their names. It's too fucking difficult. Okay, but anyways, we're gonna get into this bad boy. I got alcohol. I got 1800, so let's get this started. Can't do a review without alcohol, so let's do that real quick. Let's go. Mm. That's Belgian beer for you, baby. Blue Moon. Good shit. Okay, anyways, this album is very cinematic in a way. Like, the theatrics, the lyrics, and everything is just top tier in this whole entire fucking album. What makes this so great versus all their previous albums? Well, the production is way cleaner, vocals are way more crisp. Everything just ties in together from the orchestra, from the harsh vocals to the backup vocals. Everything ties in very well versus all the other shit. Like, their old albums were very unconventional and not in a good way. Production was shit. And you just couldn't get into it. And the one thing that they have on this album that they didn't have on a lot of their other albums is good fucking bass. So I appreciate this. So yes, this band Fleshgod Apocalypse is signed to the heavyweight of Metal Records, Nuclear Blast, and they actually followed me. What was on my old Instagram account, which is now deleted. So sad face. But yeah, they did follow me on Instagram, and I appreciated that. And they liked a few of my posts too. So shout out to Nuclear Blast. So yeah, so like I said, this album is very cinematic. It had this was actually produced by Jacob Hansen, the Black Dahlia Murder epic in Volbeat. I guess the guy that produced some of those albums produced this. So yes, this band in particular, the way they dress reminds me of Beethoven. Like, these guys are really deep rooted into art, like Mona Lisa and painters like Leonardo DiCaprio and a lot of ancient shit. Look at this fucking sick artwork here. Sorry about this goddamn flash once again. But let me turn it down just a little bit. Okay, now y'all could probably see it a little better. But that's some good there's some good artwork right here. So let's get into it. Oh, also they had an opera singer named Veronica Bordesini. She's been present with Fleshgod Apocalypse's Labyrinth. That's the 2013 album. So Yeah, she's been here for a minute. Okay, so now we're gonna get right into it. So, starting off on this monumentous album is Sugar. Now, Veleno is the name of this album. Veleno stands for strength. Well, Veleno has two different meanings depending on how you spell it. So, with this version on the album, which is spelled Veleno, Veleno, it means substance, which is poison or death or anything that can lead to illness or sickness. Now, if you take the E out of this and put a A, it means strength and health. So that's a little interesting little little Easter egg for you, So if you take the E out of this and put A, it means strength and health, but if you leave it like this, it means the opposite of that. So kind of like almost a good and evil kind of feel for this album. Like, it's just so interesting how you could just change this word and change one letter out of here and it gives it a whole different meaning. So I would definitely describe this album as good versus evil. The goods and the evils in like humankind. So that's what Veleno stands for. So Sugar, what are the very well the third track on the album, one of my favorites actually. So if you've seen the video for Sugar, it's basically about drug addiction, people shooting heroin and snorting powder, and the theatrics and the vomit and just the whole scenery with the guys playing underwater, playing the piano underwater, and then the vomit coming out of Francesco's mouth, and then the girl sitting with the needle getting injected in her arm, and she kind of like comatose and vomiting and spitting up white shit and foam and all types of shit. So it's very intense song. The vocals are hard hitting, real like go getter. Like that song is one of the heavyweights off the album in my opinion. Like it starts off with Fury, but Fury is a good opener. But when you get to like Carnivorous Lamb and Sugar, that's when this album really starts to take place. And it's like I like how they balance it out. Like this album, is heavy. It is pretty heavy, but they balance it out with the more orchestral, lighter symphonic parts, and then they just draw you back in with that head banging shit, like with tracks like Sugar and Mona Lisa and all that shit. So Sugar definitely layered to perfection. Theatrics were fucking great. And they definitely stepped it up on this one lyrically. So I think if you want to listen to a song about drugs and shit like that, this is definitely the song to go, Sugar. So that's how I feel about that song. Let's get to the next one. Next is Carnivorous Lamb. Now, Carnivorous Lamb, that's an interesting title, and it's like you can take that however you want it, like face value. So, Carnivorous Lamb is basically like people who try to be something they're not, deceivers, people who are like wolves in sheep's clothing. So that's kind of how that track starts off, and it's hard hitting. The vocals and the intense backgrounds mixed together leads into an ultimate masterpiece of a track. Definitely, definitely, probably one of the more underrated tracks off this album to me, but definitely a real heavy track on here. And yeah, Carnivorous Lamb could be you, it could be me, it could be anybody who puts on a false, persona, like somebody who comes to you as this person, but they're really a piece of garbage, like liars, deceivers, people who cheat their way throughout life, cheat their way, stab their friends in the back, use people, manipulate people to get where they at. So that's what Carnivorous Lamb means, and I wouldn't have for a title like that. I think it deserves that. Like Carnivorous Lamb, yeah, I think that title goes with the lyrics pretty much. So, I definitely like that track on there. And you know what, guys? Like, one thing I want to say is bands that I don't usually review, I'll try to make them as quick as possible. Or I mean, no, my fault. I'll try to make it as long as possible because I don't know when I'm gonna review this again, so it's gonna be a minute. But this came out in 2019 also. Now we get to more interesting tracks in this album, Mona Lisa. So Mona Lisa was painted by Leonardo DiCaprio. My fault. Sorry. Leonardo da Vinci. I did not mean to say DiCaprio. I'm fucking buzzed. You know what I meant though. So Leonardo da Vinci with the ultimate Mona Lisa painting. So Mona Lisa died at the age of 63 in 1542, I think. So she died at the age of 63 from like plague or other illness or something like that. So it was definitely pretty tragic, but apparently this song was dedicated to her, of course, and just the chorus, it just said, "For you I die, for you I sacrifice, as you're my one and only love, Mona Lisa." So Francesco shows his more affectionate side in this album, and it's mixture. Lyrically, this is probably the best song on here. And the story goes like a man that's trying to find love, but he can't move on until he can reconcile with the love of his life, which is Mona Lisa. So he said in one part, "Your ring I wear like a puppet," or some shit like that. So I guess he's saying like her love is like encaged inside this ring or whatever. Like he can't let her go, and it's like a piece of him. So we definitely got to see a more we got to see a more I don't really know how to say it, but I guess we got to see a more passionate side in this album, which is not the word I wanted to use, but sentimental. More sentimental side in this track Mona Lisa. So is definitely showing you how he cared and he loved her and he doesn't really want to go on without her. So that's how this track pretty much goes. Is another heavyweight on the album. The video is fucking epic. I like how he just goes from dark to light to good to evil to prince to devil. Like it's just the whole theatrics of it is what really blew my mind in the album. So that Mona Lisa track was fucking great. Worship and Forget is my favorite track on the album, and it was a lot of religious connotations in this album, and you really had to pay attention to it. There are different languages spoken throughout this album as well, and lyrically, like this whole album, you really have to be on your shit or you just be confused. Like lyrically, this is as dynamic as this fucking album can go. So Worship and Forget is really about like it's almost like Sugar. No, not Sugar, but the Carnivorous Lamb. It's like, people believing in things that aren't true. So it was one part they said your words can't wash your filthy soul. Your dogma cannot hide your evil. Dogma meaning principles and teachings. So your teachings cannot save you from your evil. You feel me? Blessed by imaginary God. So I guess in that part, he could be referring to as a false messiah or taking the teachings from a false messiah and using it as his own. So you can interpret that any way you want. But I thought that song Worship and Forget was fucking great. Um Francesco, his vocals throughout this album just doesn't seem to like fall flat. They always stay either like in the middle or they go, just right. So Worship and Forget, one of those great tracks on there as well. And last but not least, we get into the last track I'm gonna review on here. So Absinthe. I don't know why I said Absinthe, or maybe it is Absinthe. Yeah, I think it is Absinthe or something. I think it is, but anyways, No, I do not have COVID. I was just choking on my beer. Okay, I was choking on my fucking beer. You see this? I got my devil shit on. And I got a shot of 18, bitch. Y'all know it. Anyways, Absinthe, the song is like a bottomless pit to the journey of hell. Like, when I was listening to this song, I can imagine myself falling down literally a bottomless pit with fire, just fire going on, just a bottomless pit that's on fire that's never ending. Like, it's like a track that will lead you straight to hell. The orchestra is the real like winner here. You know, all of this stuff just mashes in together, and um the female vocalist they have in there, she doesn't disappoint at all. So it was one part of the real shit. Life is a sip, I guzzle it all, so time has come to die. So I guess in that part, Francesco was talking about how he'll drink his sorrows away, but that's really what that track was. Absent, it was really about just losing it all, going to the bottom, falling at your lowest. We all have failed on short times. We've all been in dark spots. We've all been in places we don't want to go back to. We all have used things or self medicated or just used things to alter our mind, make us feel better, to take the pain away. So that's what Absinthe is about. This whole album, I can describe it as life and death, good and evil, dark versus light. So this album, I would describe it as that. Uh, this was not in my top 10 list. Unfortunately, it was good, but still, these guys got a long way to go if they want to make it in my top 10. But this is definitely a top album. So pick it up wherever you are. Fleshgod Apocalypse, Veleno, symphonic or orchestral death metal giants. Beethoven metal. That's what I call this, Beethoven metal. These niggas all dressed like fucking Beethoven. That's what this is, Beethoven metal. Italian motherfuckers that like Beethoven, that stick to their Italian roots, that are heavy and dark as fuck. So I hope you guys enjoyed this album review. I'm starting to get drunk. We will be doing more. It will be more metal content coming soon. And I appreciate all of y'all. Motherfucker.